Well, good morning, everyone. This is Jennifer Sanchez, your show host this morning. We're super excited on this Memorial Day to be with you all. I know probably a lot of people are still sleeping in. Probably people were out and about and hanging out and doing their thing. Uh, so while Laura's getting herself situated, there she goes. Uh, it's okay. Don't worry about it. I hope everyone has some plans for today. It's again Memorial Day where it's all about recognizing today those that have served and lost their lives, right? So um definitely if you definitely are remembering someone, we're in thought and prayers with you, for those that if lost any loved ones during any battle or war or lost your life overseas. So and we thank you again for your sacrifice as well for us. So wanted to make sure I say that. So who am I? I'm Jennifer Sanchez. I'm the founder of the Women's Institute of Self-Development and Efficacy, WISE for short. I need to chug some coffee because I really need to like pepper up this morning. I feel I feel it. And this community is all about having conversation, inspiration, motivation. We talk about different trending topics, and we bring on amazing women from our community to be co-hosts, as well as we invite guests. And today is just me and Nara. We're gonna go out with a bang. this, for this show, since today's Nara's last day as a co-host for now. We'll bring her back. We'll bring her back. I'm sure she'll come back. Um, so Nara, introduce yourself to our viewers.
Hi, ladies. My name is Nara Diaz. I am a former restaurant worker, manager, not anymore. I'm moving into tech. Tomorrow, I have my first webinar to get training for a Salesforce certification. So, hopefully, I'll be moving into tech. That will be really fun. I am 5 months postpartum with a baby girl. Jen and I are both girl moms. And I am only going on my second year of marriage and a COVID survivor, pandemic survivor. We all got through it. So,
Yay, yay. I think now that everything's opening up, I don't know. I'm trying to like compose myself, and you know how you hear all these trending things like hot girl summer and mom. You post something about mom summer. I'm just excited to see what we could do this summer.
mm.
That's really where I'm at right now because it's just like, yeah, we've been cooped up. Let's find things to do, and enjoy this summer. Because it feels like God, we've been deprived.
Yeah, and I have to say, on Saturday morning, we woke up and we followed a similar routine that we used to do pre-pandemic. And I was like in euphoria, dopamine heaven, like literally just following that routine that we had pre-pandemic. My brain was like in heaven. It was like, oh my gosh, I was just so excited. All we did was go to the flea market, Swamporama, but I was like ecstatic.
Nice. Which flea
Crazy.
market did you go? The Swaparama? That's the one on. Where is that one at? Is that the one in Melrose Park?
I think there's a lot of them around Chicago. There's even one downtown I saw on South Michigan
Max,
Avenue. Yeah, but we went.
Michigan.
Yeah, there's a Shoporama on
What?
Michigan. I know.
No, there's
Yeah,
not. You
on
for real?
the east side of the street on South Chicago after Roosevelt, within maybe a mile or two.
I,
But
I
we went. Good.
I know they have Maxwell's. Maxwell's used to be like a big one down there, an outdoor. I know they
Mm.
got moved by UIC. I don't know if that's the same one that we're talking about, or is it
Well, this
further?
one has it looks like a huge garage, like a huge warehouse garage, and it has Shoporama on it. And it's across from my animal clinic. I was like, "Did you
What?
know that, babe?" And he's like, "No, that can't be like
That's
the flea market. Like maybe that's a warehouse." I was like, "But what is Shoparama gonna store? Like it has to be like Shoparama is only venues."
it's only yeah, vendors. Yeah, 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 you're right.
So
Oh, you're right. There was a Shoparama in the South Side on Ashland. They must be expanding because I knew the one that was on Pershing and like Ashland. No, yeah, Ashland and
that's the one
Pershing.
we went to.
Yeah, that one, I know that one. Actually, I've only seen the outside because I worked right next to it. I never actually went indoors. But yeah, flea markets are fun. I like flea markets. I've been dying to go to like a flea market that's like in an old town. I want to go to like an old town. Have you ever been to one of those?
I mean, that's what I thought flea markets were before I went to that one because I am from a small Midwest city and it's literally just people bring what they find in trash. It was like, ugh, like I hated it. And so my husband always called that place a Mexican mart. And I was at work and I had gotten like some lipstick or makeup, or people were complimenting me, asking me where I got it. And I was like, oh, at the Mexican mart, at the Mexican mart. And they're like, what? I was like, yeah, it's like, and I gave them a location. They're like, that's a flea market. I was like, no, that's not a flea market. You want to see a flea market? It's like where
Yeah,
people literally bring out items of trash.
that's what I want to go to. See, a flea market nowadays here in the city, they buy wholesale, or a lot of them have storefronts and then they
Yeah.
can't get rid of merchandise. So then they
Mhm.
take up a little spot to get rid of those
Yeah.
items there. I have so many stories. You know, I had a store at a flea market for like 2, 3 years. So like it
For what?
was I,
Or
s-
what?
I was the Avon lady. I
I
was
was
I
gonna
was
ask.
I was the Avon lady. I was at that time I was selling Avon, but you meet very interesting characters like entrepreneurs. I remember like my neighbor next to me was a jewelry store lady. The guy next to me was like a cowboy hat, like he did all cowboy outfits and cowboy shoes. Toy store in front of me, shoe store like next to them, and then kind of like a I don't know what you would call him, kind of like a dollar store type store. It was a Asian man, and he was Chinese actually. And I remember he was just like, I bring stuff from my other store, and I just sell it here. Like if nothing sells in my dollar store,
Yeah.
I bring it here. I was like, cool. So you meet a lot of cool people there. That it was fun.
Pre-COVID, there were girls that like did nails and hair
And
and
eyebrows.
like yeah, and any sort of electronics, you could go there and it was new stuff. It wasn't stuff that they just found in a garbage. And got my beautiful Christmas tree. Remember my huge Christmas tree? It's like 7 feet. We got it for like $35 and it was brand new.
Yeah, yeah, I enjoy the flea market, and actually we went a lot to the one that I was at was the one on Division in West Humboldt Park, Division and Cicero. That's the one that I was at.
Yeah,
So,
we've heard about that one. Is it good?
well, yeah, I know it got burnt down and then they updated it, so it should be even better now than before. Like as far as like stores, I think they've got made it bigger. I think they have more restaurants. So it's fun. I enjoy going to the flea markets, but I want to go to those flea markets you're talking about now, like the old like I want to go to like an old town flea market where people bring stuff from their home, and like I want to find some old stuff. Like my husband gets annoyed with me sometimes with like me trying to find like buying like things that are old, or I like I'm the person, no shame in my game. I will if I see something in the garbage, like let's say you were driving and I see something by the trash can and it looks good and doesn't look bad, I'm taking that sucker home. Like,
Yeah.
and we have this like chair in the living room, and it's old school. You haven't seen it, Nor. You haven't been here lately, but I was going dropping off the girls. Some guy was throwing out these old like 1970s or 60s chairs, and I liked them, and I took them. Oh, you might have seen it. You might have seen them. They were in my garage, and like that's the most comfortable chair that I've ever sat on in my life.
And you like to do DIY. You like to get like old stuff and then make it pretty again or make it custom for your house.
Yeah.
And like that's awesome. That takes a lot of skill. I know we got this rocker, it's out of view. We got this rocker. We paid 20 bucks for it off like Facebook. And I had dreams and aspirations to do what you do, and it never happened. It's still like normal. It's not bad or disgusting or ugly. It was in great condition. I just wanted to DIY it, like what you do with stuff. And I just, yeah, I was just too pregnant. I never got there. But
Oh,
you do
it's
that stuff.
hard. Yeah, I've done it to like a kitchen table, and now I'm looking at it like, oh, it wasn't because we bought the house and there was a lot of old stuff here. So I fixed it and I sanded it and stuff. So I'm gonna do that now to a piano. I'm gonna try to paint my piano yellow. I know that's extreme. So I'm trying, I like to play around and experiment with things when I have time. I painted my fireplace. Like I took care of that and painted it all white.
See?
Yeah, so I'd be all out. So anyways, we're having a random conversation that was not planned. But let's go into coffee time. And I know, like I said, I know if you are catching the replay, and just share what you're drinking with us in the replay. But I know that what I'm drinking is I'm definitely drinking coffee today. I'm drinking coffee, like coffee, like
What happened
you
to the mocha stuff
know.
from
I
astronaut food?
I still I still drink it, but I noticed like the other day I've been tired because I haven't been drinking my
Mhm.
coffee. And then I drank coffee and I got so hyped. I got so hyped. Like I felt like boom. Like I was like chasing the girls, making the girls hyper with me. Like I felt like I was at a concert in my house. Like, cause you'll see, Nara, when your little girl gets to like that age of 1.5 or 2, like they start yelling and dancing and goofing off, right?
Mhm.
So I'll just start like yelling, like ah, and the little the little one loves it. So then they start yelling and they start dancing, and my middle one loves to jump around. So like I got them all pepped up, like a pep rally.
Nice.
So yeah, so I'm drinking coffee today so I could wake up and be more hyper.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's
So
good.
what are you drinking?
Well, I got my Premier protein shakes back. So
Oh,
half of
nice.
that, the cafe latte from Costco, and then half of a homemade cold brew, and then still my sweet foam and still my sugar-free hazelnut. And yeah, yep.
Nice. You know what I just saw not too long ago? Um, Someone ordered a keto-friendly drink at Starbucks. And I took a
Mm-hmm.
screenshot and I was like, I didn't even realize people can make you keto-friendly drink. Like I know you can order and they can customize, but keto never popped in my head at all
Mm-hmm.
during this. So I thought that was pretty cool. Have you tried that?
Yes, I have to tag you. I'll tag you. There's a whole page of keto and micro. That's where I got originally, this whole thing from my house is from recipes from like pages. So on IG and I'll tag you. But yes, I've done a lot of keto. They're calorie friendly and for me, I'm on Weight Watchers, so the points it drops it from like a 20-point drink, which is outrageous, to maybe like 5 or 3 even.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. I know that what in the thing that I'm on, I could have sugar-free jello, right? Like a snack.
Mm,
So I
yeah.
wonder if I can have a sugar-free coffee. Maybe I should ask Yesenia and see. Like, like I'm just trying to like
Hmm.
I still want
Yeah.
cause I'm not gonna lie, yesterday, like my husband was talking about food and I saw tacos on TV and I was like, damn,
Yes.
I want some,
Hmm.
but I can't. So this way better come off soon. I'm just saying.
But for me too, though, it's because we've been friends for like ever now for like for a couple of years, but you've watched me go through like so many different things. And for me, like when I was doing the keto thing and the not eating stuff, like if I was wanting tacos, for example, I would how my mind and my body works, I would eventually like binge and eat tacos if I deprived myself of tacos. I don't know if that's how
Yes.
you work. That's how I work. So it was dangerous for me to say no to foods, and because I would just go into a binge and then what? Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. I've binged not on this program. I haven't binged, but I know that I have binged in the past. Like, oh my God, let me overindulge, right? Let me like just shove my mouth.
Yeah.
Um, like this weekend, I've been impressed with myself. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm like looking at cake and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take like a. I know I'm not supposed to, but I took like a little slice, like this.
See?
Like I'll just do that. Or my husband had M&Ms. I just grabbed one M&M. I said, let me just
Yeah.
taste it. Yesterday, uh, I made hot wings for my family, and we like cooter sauce. So I just said I'm gonna have a little bit of meat off one wing. Because this astronaut food thing that I'm eating, Nara, is now that I look at it and think about it, yes, it's portions every 2 to 3 hours. It's low carb though. You're not supposed to have high carb vegetables. They're specific on that, and no, you can't have fruit on it. So it does remind me of keto. So I'm wondering if it's designed to make your body ketosis without that much thought into it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Hmm.
thinking it is. Now that I'm paying attention to what we're eating. So just something that I'm noticing. Hey Maribel, how are you? Let us know what you are drinking. She said that is true. It happens totally. We will binge eat, and I guess I just try to stay away. Like I just try not to be around that stuff as much as possible. It's unavoidable at parties, right? Like at parties, you're kind of like, oh my God, here's all this great food. But you can try to avoid buying it and having it in your own home. That
Yeah.
helps.
That's such torture because for me, with emotions, if there was something like I don't keep stuff. I have veggie straws and I have like some pretzels. Like I have stuff that's like, oh my gosh, like 50 veggie straws is 4 points. That's like better than
Nice.
anything. But like, so if I'm like ready emotionally to like just like let me eat my feelings here, which I'm working on, but it's a process. For me, I'm not a split. I can't just say, okay, this is what it is, and I just do that. I know some people are, but I'm like a process. So just having stuff that's like non bingeable food or like non tasty food, or just like keeping fruits and veggies and just like really good stuff in the cupboards. Like when I'm ready to binge, my brain's like, okay, there's nothing here. Like what are you
Yeah.
going to eat? And then it's like, okay, let's think about this, and my brain will start telling me like go to the store, like, and then I start having this inner dialogue of like, let's rethink this. I don't want to walk to a store with a baby right now. Like, I don't want to get in the car. So, and it helps me just, not having the food in the house is just so monumental. Yeah.
Yeah, it helps. I like that strategy. Like I did the same thing with chocolate. Like I'm a chocolate fan. That's the one thing I like about this program. Like you could have your brownies and they give you that stuff. So it helps my sweet tooth a lot. But before I got on the program, I bought morsels of chocolate, pure dark chocolate. I think like
Mm.
but where I messed up was it's like 90% pure, Nara. This tastes terrible. Like I love dark chocolate, but the purer it is, the more bitter it tastes. And then I'm
Mm.
trying to like binge on these morsels. I'm like, ugh. And I'm like, it's still in the cupboard. It's been there for like 3 months. I would have ate that already by now. Um, so let me show some comments. We have Maribel. She said, my husband is also on the program to lose weight. So I see. That's amazing. That's awesome, Maribel. Um, we have Luke Yogi saying hi there. Good morning. We have again Maribel. She's showing us she's drinking her coffee. And Luke Yogi said hi, Jennifer and Nara. So Good stuff. And then, of course, we got to remind everyone, if you're watching us now or the replay, we have a coffee sponsor. If you want to support a coffee that has a initiative to support the community of Puerto Rico, they are ethnically grown in Puerto Rico. 100% of the sales of Cafe Ama are invested in entrepreneurship and education programs. 100% of the sales. So that's awesome. I don't know too many coffees that do that, and they support programs for women and children. And what they do is they provide financial empowerment. So I think this is awesome. And and I've mentioned it in other shows. The coffee beans are left over from the last hurricane, and that's how they started this coffee, which is really strong, really good. I suggest we have 20% off if you order through us. Use the code WISE and you get 20% off your coffee. So um, I like those companies that have like a initiative behind them. Like not only do they support the community. Like they do something with their profit. I like those type of companies as well. So oh, we have more people jumping on. We have Mimsy. Hello. Hi, Mimsy. How are you? We have, again, Luke said, I love coffee. Let us know what you guys are drinking this morning if you're jumping on. This is you can engage with us and share and conversate with us this morning. So we're excited to have you guys on with us. So, first topic, you want to go into the hate crime conversation, Nara? Let's talk about that. I wasn't aware of this. And we're just talking about
Yeah,
world news, just to know what the heck's going on in the world.
yeah. It was like right after we had talked about that, it was really funny because you know how they always say like social media is listening? And this whole week after we had that conversation, I've just seen like so many things on what's happening in the Middle East between Israel and Palestine. And of course, I clicked on some of the things because if viewers are watching, I don't claim to be an expert on the subject. Just, I just read some headlines and it came across some news outlets that were actually stating some hate crimes against the Jewish community here in America. I guess that there had been a bomb at a temple. Is it a temple for
They're
Jewish
called yeah,
people?
yeah, I
Okay.
think so. Yeah. And if not,
At
someone
the
can tell us in the chat. They'll correct us.
Yes, please correct me. At the Jewish holy place, the temple in New York, I guess that there was like some sort of pipe bomb there since all this is happening. And then I saw videos of a Jewish man getting attacked in New York by a mob. Actually, it looked like 3 or 4 or 5 people. And then there was like some people breaking it up too. I saw that thanks to Facebook and always listening to us. And then also came across that there was hate crimes against the Jewish people were up like 400%
Yeah,
since
that's
this
terrible.
happened. And is it neo-Nazi or Nazi? Um, the present day Nazis are using the pro-Palestinian um, rhetoric to further push their anti-Jewish, anti-Semitic agenda.
Wow, this is deep. This is deep. I guess every time something happens when it involves some type of like minority group, it almost seems like a hate crime's gonna happen, right?
Yeah,
Like 9/11, we had hate crimes against people of Middle East descent in the U.S.
yeah.
Right now, I think we even with like COVID, right?
I was gonna say that.
There was hate crimes against Asian
Yeah,
Americans. So it's a very unfortunate thing how I think individuals use maybe like these type of issues that happen in society and culture and world, and then they use this as an excuse to take their aggression out. on someone. Like, it almost seems like this is an excuse for me to go beat on someone. Like, did you see in New York when the African American man was beat up on that little Filipino lady?
Yeah.
She, she was like um half his, like a third of his size, and he was like knocking her out. Why? You know, like, it just didn't make it, it doesn't make sense. It is unfortunate that I think that the issues that are going on in the Middle East have been going on for years, hundreds of years, from my understanding. Like, it's not something you can solve overnight, I don't think.
Yeah.
Right? So, we are having some comments here. Let me show the comments. Luke Yogi said, "Coffee with milk, no sugar, please." I'm right there with you. I don't take sugar with my coffee. Um, and we have, oh yeah, Mimsy is still with us. He said, "How deep?" And then, of course, good vibes, good vibes, good vibes. Yeah, like, will we ever be at peace? Like,
Yeah.
I think we're, in the world, we're just gonna keep having these type of issues. Like, if it's not one thing, it's gonna be another thing. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not trying to be pessimist. I'm not trying to be like, oh, but things are happening and they're gonna keep happening.
It's always like, even in biblical times, even in history, it's always like any anybody that thinks that they're bigger or stronger or better is always trying to overpower or overtake or suppress or oppress what
Yeah.
they deem as the weaker link or minority or whatever, fill in the blank type
Yeah.
of thing. It seems
That's,
very like fleshy, like very mankind, to always just sort of try to prey or
yeah, you're right.
oppress.
You're right. And with your comment about how, like, it almost seems like neo-Nazis are taking advantage of this and doing more hate crimes towards Jews, right?
Yeah,
Like, I think we know that the media, like you said earlier offline, they have an agenda to
yeah,
expose certain things, right?
yeah,
Um, and there are so many things that happen around the globe that are not always on the media. Like, you will not know about certain
yeah,
things unless they want you to know about it. Like, there's mass genocide, and like,
yeah,
there's in Africa, you will hear things you don't we're in a globe. Like, there's so many things, like, no one's talking about what's going on in Colombia and Argentina.
yeah, yeah,
Why? Like, there's a reason why something might be shown more. Now, I'm not saying that what's going on out there is wrong, in the Middle East, not at all, by a long shot, right? Wrong is wrong, and especially with what's going on. When we talked about it last week, it's a terrible thing to lose your land, or and then someone else take over your land. But Nara, you made a comment about how the Jewish, the say it again, the Jewish government, or the Israel government has offered to have, like, split the land. But I might be
yeah.
wrong.
That's something that came up in my some Google feed or Facebook feed or something too, that there was actually this roundtable discussion from citizens, citizens and Israel citizens, and in this discussion, they brought up the fact that Israel has offered to just separate and create states or create different countries and said, this is your land, this is my land. And the Palestine government has always apparently said, no, it's all or nothing. We want all of this land or none of it. And so that's
Mm,
just been kind of going back and forth for a really long time. So, um, and that doesn't equate to right or wrong with the bombings and the violence. We're not talking about that, but that was, just part of the topic of this roundtable that was brought up, and the conversation went into, whether they thought that was right or wrong, and and stuff like that. But that was a fact that was mentioned for the roundtable to discuss, is what I'm trying to get out. And I was never aware of that. I was never
Yeah.
aware of that. Like, it's kind of an all or nothing sort of situation.
Yeah, that's a good comment. So, um, you know, I think, and it's just we're just having conversation. This is just all about awareness, what's going on, and if anyone has any feedback or want to add like a sentence or two on their thoughts on to share it in the comments. We'll show it live on the air. And again, you guys are conversating with us, just like we're conversating with you guys. So thank you for being here with us. We appreciate you. So let's go into a lighter topic. you know, um, I think we could talk about this. I think everyone has an opinion on breastfeeding. Um,
Yes.
and I know that's what you're going through right now, Nara. This is something that you right now are dealing with, which is like, I don't know if people realize that there's laws that protect breastfeeding moms in the United States, or at
Yeah,
least
I
I know in
didn't.
Illinois.
No, it's all 50. It's all 50 in Puerto Rico.
Oh,
Mm.
okay, well there you go. So go. You had I don't know if you want to share this story.
No, I will. And and I'm just gonna preface it because last time I shared it, people took things into their own hands. So it's already been taken care of and rectified. But and I just have to say that because last week went so crazy. So it was a time last week. The baby is kind of teething, not teething. Like one day she is, one day she's not. And I'm a brand new mom. This is my first go around, anyways. So first time breastfeeding, and my husband's working a lot. Long story short, I decided to just get a hotel room with the baby and my husband get some good quality sleep here at home. And it was like maybe 10 o'clock, 10:30, and I go into a hotel room in the area. And I was by myself with the baby, and I had to feed her. And of course, I didn't want to, but I can't tell her when she wants to feed or not. And excuse me, so I start doing my thing. And the lady behind the counter actually made a statement that I shouldn't be doing that in public. And when I was like, excuse me, she's like, yeah, that's just too much. Like, you shouldn't be doing that. Like, you can at least cover yourself up. And I was like, wait, what? Like, but you're on the clock. Like, you know that you're being like really unprofessional because that's like a personal statement. Well, I didn't say all that. So I was thinking that, anyways, internal dialogue. And unbeknownst to me, I catered to her request and my baby was crying and whining. And in my head, I was like, oh, well, I don't want this woman to feel uncomfortable with this public display of breastfeeding. So I actually took my baby off and just like accommodated her. And I felt really crappy about it. And then when I got checked into the room, of course, I took care of my baby. I put her to sleep. And then after we were all settled, I went into one of my breastfeeding moms Facebook group and I wrote what had happened. And I was thinking that I was going to get like some support and some women, like a lot of what happens in the moms group or private Facebook groups where they just kind of come to your rescue and they'll leave their experiences or their comments and it will just make you feel better. I said, okay, I'm going to post this. I'll wake up in the morning. I'll feel
Yeah.
100% better. Went to sleep. But little did I know that, I got a huge education. So, there was over 200 comments and I posted this late at night and these moms were fuming. They wanted to know where I stayed. They wanted to know what her name was. They wanted to do a sit-in where everybody would take their babies and sit and breastfeed. And they were like, let's call WGN. Let's get this. So, um, I went downstairs and the lady checked me out was the same lady that had checked me in at night. And I asked for her name and then I posted it in the group. Everybody was asking where I was. And they spent the rest of the day making bad reviews and calling and talking to the manager and telling her because it's illegal to actually ask not be able to breastfeed in public. So it's very legal and it's protected right to be able to breastfeed in public or in private. And so the hotel chain did a great job. They accommodated me. When I eventually reached out, I had to turn off the comments. But you know, the lady got an earful from a lot of angry moms.
That's what
And
you get.
yeah, well, and I didn't know. And then people were asking, like, did you stop? They wanted me to lawyer up and sue the chain.
Oh,
And
wow.
like, yeah, they were on fire. And so I got an education and I didn't know because like I had took the baby off and I didn't know you know, and I have like a 20-year history in hospitality. So in my head, I do cater to a lot to people. So I didn't think twice about taking her off because I just thought, oh, I'm making her feel uncomfortable. And little did I know that like I didn't need to do that and she should never have said that to me. So
Yeah,
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 very
yeah.
interesting.
That's so I'm seeing the comments and you know Luke asked what are the laws and what was she so upset about. So I know that you, like Nara just said, you can in the United States you can publicly breastfeed and businesses are supposed to accommodate and provide you a
Yeah.
space to breastfeed if you're just a shopper and or in your place of employment. Now in your place of employment, I know you won't have the baby, but by law they need to have a space for you to breast pump. If they
I think
don't
it was
have a
like 30 minutes for or an hour for every 8 hours or something like that.
yeah, yeah. And I know I always struggled with like when I would go back to work and try to like pump, that was always one of my biggest struggles. But you know,
But like
good
in what way? In what way?
for me.
Like
So I know that in my old place of employment, they like took a closet and we didn't call it a closet, but it was like a back storage room. But we called it a closet because when we would have our students do job interviews, there's a community job interviews, we had clothes there for them. So that's where we had all the donated clothes, purses, shoes, suits, whatever you could think of was there. And then they had like on the couch space. So that was the space that I can breastfeed. But I felt like it was cleaner to breastfeed in my own office than breastfeeding in that room. Like not breastfeeding, I'm
mhm.
sorry, pumping, right? And I just remember like no one really like respected the fact that you were pumping. Like everyone still wanted you. Everyone was still knocking on your door and you're like, leave me alone. Like I'm doing something right now, but everyone wants you at that very moment. So that was that was always a struggle. Um so let's see. Especially in the early days when babies need mommy. Well, she said, Mimsy said, perhaps the problem is really that mom should actually be at home with their children, which, yeah, and it would be easier, especially in the days where babies need mommy. It would definitely be, and then Luke said, Jennifer, you go, girl. And you know, there's women that have, you know, I've always struggled with production. Production for me was my issue. I always felt like I was never producing enough, you know, which there's in contrast, there's some women that like produce and overproduce and overfill. And I'm like, wow, you guys are awesome. Like I can drink all the milk in the world, you know, like in the Mexican culture, it's like drink champurrado, drink
Yeah.
atole, drink oatmeal, like just eat all these things.
Yeah.
I
My sister-in-law, the amount of stuff my sister-in-law dropped me off, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, like you're supposed to keep drinking this all day, every day. Make sure you eat like a lot of protein. Make sure you I even went and started getting the mother's milk tea. What's it called?
Mhm.
I forgot
Fungi.
all fungi. Yeah, that.
Is that
I
it? Fungi, right? I think.
yeah, yeah, it's a whole little thing for just to produce more milk. I
Hmm.
remember making lactation cookies. Like I
Yeah.
know that's what you're dealing with right now, like buying brewer's yeast.
Yeah.
Like so. it's so it's always for me, it was always difficult where I always felt like I never produced enough for my children. And my last child, I remember I cried because she didn't want to latch on. I was going, and
Ugh,
I just had her, and she didn't want to latch on. She didn't want me. And it's critical, as you know, Nara, when you have your baby, they need to latch on right away and stay on because you're
yeah.
building that bond and you're trying to get that, the production to happen. She didn't want me, and I was crying, and I was like, she don't want me. And I was so my husband's like, she's healthy, like if she doesn't take you, like give her a bottle, which at the end of the day I wanted to breastfeed instead of giving a bottle, which that was always my goal. But it just, with her, it just didn't happen the way I wanted it to happen. It was, she wanted the bottle, and I messed up because I did give her a bottle in the hospital. But it happens.
But you know what? My whole journey was not easy. Like now it's phenomenal, but I really had to work hard. And I guess like your first kid, it's normal, but my baby ended up taking a bottle in the hospital. And I remember she was born right before noon. And so fast forward to that night, the nurse who was also certified, she wasn't a lactation consultant, but she was certified in some sort of lactation or something. Well, her special, she was a certified lactation consultant nurse, but not solely a lactate. I don't, whatever. So she actually had me up for like 3 hours. Mind you, I hadn't slept, but I was in labor
Oh,
for 26 hours. So I hadn't slept now. This is going on the second night of no sleep. And she was in there for like 3 hours trying to get it. And finally, I had to be like, I had to tell her to stop. It was like from 2 until 5 a.m. and it didn't work. It wasn't working. And I remember putting the cover over my head and crying and asking her, like, I was so embarrassed, asking her through the cover, like, if she could please leave. And she was like, she kind of stood her ground with me a little bit, which she was like, okay, well, we need your permission to feed her a bottle, like we're gonna have to do it. I was like, that's fine, make sure that she's okay, but like I need to rest. I need like something. She's like, well, at 6, it's 5 a.m. She's like, well, at 6 a.m. people are gonna start making their rounds again, the doctors and everything. I was like, oh my God, you're kidding me. And
yeah.
and then from there we did feed her with a bottle formula until my milk came in. And it was just really hard, and it took up until 4 months. So you're talking about the lactation cookies. I was pumping, pumping. I was pumping to help my supply. I was like very, very dedicated about it. And it was, I remember I was sitting on the phone with a Mel, who's also a member of Wise. She's a coach through Wise, right? Right, a coach,
Hmm.
right? And she was like, we were talking, she was like, how are you doing? Because it was hard for her, the feeding. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like it was so much work up until 4 months. And then the milk regulated is what they called, so I didn't have to worry about it. And I don't pump anymore, and I can like take the baby out and I can walk around in stores with her. But those first 4 months was absolute torture. It was so hard to try to get enough and try to get it on regular. Like I remember if I wouldn't switch off from side to side, like that supply immediately in that breast would go down. And then it's like,
Yep.
oh my gosh, which side am I feeding? Like
Yep.
it was finicky, very
Yeah.
very sensitive. And but such a blessing. Such a
Yeah.
blessing to be able to get through. And that
Good for you
hats go
guys.
off. Yeah, my hats go off to women like yourself, like to sit in a closet and be able to pump just for your child. And
Yeah.
wow.
Well, it's hard. Let me show these comments because I see comments coming in and I'm trying to keep up with them. Luke said, Jennifer, you go, girl. We have Mimsy, my boobs never like to be pumped. My babies benefit the most straight from tap. I like how she said that.
Yeah.
Um, and then if you need a pump, go for it. I love milk in my coffee. Breastfed now, Nara. Mimsy said try hand expression. Then we have Mimsy said, I don't need to anymore. I'm on my third babe and I breastfeed like a boss. Um, that's
Nice.
that's awesome. That's because the first 3 months after birth are considered the fourth trimester. Yeah, baby and moms are still developing and figuring life out. So yeah, I agree. Mimsy, you go, girl.
Or they can be called hell, like,
Yeah.
it
This
is
is
a
why it's
rough
crucial for
journey.
yeah, and she said that's why it's crucial for moms to be with babies. I agree. Like I've always tried to be with the babies as long as possible. And
Mhm.
I was super excited for my third child because now I'm working from home. So I said, oh, it should be easy to just like breastfeed and work. And it just didn't work out as what my mind thought it was going to be because she just did not want me. And we kept trying and we kept trying for months. And by the third month, I said, look, I'm not doing this no more. Like we get it or we don't, and we just stick to formula and move on with our lives. And I'm having this conversation. This was for my peace of mind because I was just struggling with it so much. My second kid, she was stuck to me. Like she did not want to leave me. Like
Aw.
she was the longest, that stayed on me for the longest. I only breastfed the longest was 6 months, because once I started going back to work, the supply just goes down. At the end of the day, it's better for your child, right, to breastfeed versus a pump. A pump cannot take as much as a child. The baby's not gonna, the baby will pull out more than what a pump would. And go ahead.
I was going to pose a question, and maybe people can write in the comments and you can answer for yourself. But through this journey, there were so many times that I wanted to give up because it was so hard and so touchy, and, you know, had to rely on the Lord so much for strength. But I often pose a question: why does this matter so much to women? And why do women so much find their identity or in motherhood through breastfeeding? Like,
Yeah,
what, and it goes back even to birth too, like the whole cesarean or natural or epidural. Like, women tend to attach some identity of their motherhood through breastfeeding and um through how they give birth, but we're talking about breastfeeding. So through breastfeeding, and why it is so hard. And thank God that we have our husbands telling us, hey, remember, the most important thing is that the baby gets fed. In
yeah,
a
yeah.
perfect world, we'd want it from you, but if that doesn't work, the baby still has to get fed. So why do you think that is? Why do you think we attach so much of our motherhood, our identity, in our motherhood, to breastfeeding?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm sure will have some comments, but, for me, it was kind of like that bonding moment. You bond with the baby. That for me was bonding. Like, I wanted to bond with my baby. I wanted to be with my baby. Like, I enjoyed it so much with my second child. See, with my first child, they gave me this weird apparatus. I don't know what you want to call it, so I went to a good hospital too. I went to Northwestern. So I don't know what this thing was, but they gave me this little tube like this where you put the milk in and it connected to a string and you would tie it to your pinky. Okay. I had Ines 13 years ago. Okay. So in order to avoid nipple confusion, because there's nipple confusion when you go from bottle to breast, they said use this and feed her with your thumb, and she'll just suck on your thumb like if it's a nipple, and she won't get confused when you go from nipple and breast. This was now that I think about it, no, the second two children after that, no one offered me this. So I'm
Yeah.
sitting there like when I didn't feel like breastfeeding, I'm feeding her with my finger in her mouth, right? And I would tie medical tape around my finger. And one time she ate the medical tape. She was a baby and she swallowed the medical tape. And that was
Oh,
my
no.
first kid. And I cried and I called the doctor and I said, she ate the medical tape. And the doctor was like, well, she'll poop it out. As long as she didn't choke, she swallowed it, she'll be fine. Like that. And he still, my doctor will still remember. He asked me not too long ago, he was like, which kid was it that ate the medical tape again? And I was like, it was my first one. It was Ines. He's the doctor for all three of them now. So it's funny that he still remembers that situation because I was freaking out. Um,
Yeah.
but but it went from that, and then Sophie, she was stuck on me all day. Like she was the one that was like, I need a break. Get off of me, child. Like that was that child. And then the final one was like, nope, I don't want you. Give me a bottle. I don't want to deal with it. Like that's how the third one.
Yeah.
Um, so let me share these comments. All boobs are capable to supply what the baby is demanding. Absolutely, I agree. It's just so hard. It is why we
It's
are made.
psychological too. It's very psychological.
Yeah. Um, it means said the how they give birth is irrelevant. Um, the to me it was feeling of rejection from my child, especially after my loss. Yeah, that's a deep one. Yeah, you do feel rejected when you struggle with the baby, right? you know um you know Yogi said, how can the hubby help with breastfeeding? um just be
Oh, that's a good one.
supportive. Be supportive, I would say. I That's, there's nothing much you can do,
Yeah.
that I think of, right? Just be supportive. Take the baby. When we say take the baby, because I need to take a shower, take the baby. You
Yeah.
know.
And
Um,
also, like, the biggest thing for me was the reminder. Like, so many times I would sit there in tears and I would be feeling frustrated and crying, and the baby would be crying, and my husband would say, hey, let's bring it back. Why are we doing this? It's for her to be fed. So why don't I take her and I'll give her a bottle, and maybe you can pump this time and feed her next time. And just having that, for me, having my husband's logic and input and quote unquote, it made him feel like he had my back, a lot of times just by taking the baby and giving her a bottle and saying, hey, remember, the most important thing is that she's fed. Remember that. And I was like, oh, thank God. Okay, yes, that's right. That's right. And then just get back in the game. That was really important for me.
yeah. That's a good point. That's a good point. I think, and even Mimsy added, hubby can help by understanding that mom is not a cow and is not constantly on standby with a bell. Yeah, that definitely is a big one. Um, and yeah, so I think also Mimsy said if moms pump, it's a great opportunity to allow dads to have the feeding bonding moments. So
Oh, that's great
that's,
too.
yeah, that's good. So, um, this is a good conversation. We could talk about this all day.
Yeah, we can.
So I'm just kind of
Oh,
like, I apologize. That was me. um, and then we have Mimsy who said, we also really need to realize that we need to stay hydrated. These children are sucking out our life force. I agree. I think that's a critical one.
and it literally is. And did you know, I just read too that, like, as a baby grows, the breast, or however your body is in breastfeeding, the body figures out that it needs more nutrition and more different things at the different stages. So your body will change the nutrients going into breast milk and take that from food and things like that.
Yeah. That's yeah, that's true. That's good. I like that. And that's good advice, especially if we have anyone that's gonna watch us, like a new mom or gonna be a mommy, right? Something, these are things that we can all relate to, especially if our moms are
Yeah.
being become, you're in the process of being a mom. Um, Mary said you have to keep that frame of mind when you have picky eaters. I guess maybe our babies can be picky eaters. That makes total sense, right?
Yeah. And also, like, being part of, and I'm sure you didn't have this with Inez, but being part of so many groups with lactation groups and breastfeeding moms groups and stuff. Now, like, that's really where I learned a lot of tips and tricks. Otherwise, I'm not sure if I would have, to be 100% honest, if I didn't constantly learn a
Oops,
lot of
sorry about
tips
that.
and it's okay. If I didn't constantly learn or basically have something where I could just put a question in at any hour of the day and get answers from a community, I'm not sure if I would be breastfeeding right now because it was such a struggle for months for me.
Yeah. And I think you being a mom in this time is it's like you said, I didn't have this community 13 years ago. I don't think Facebook was as advanced as it
Yeah.
is right now. Like Facebook is super advanced now. Like now you can, and I don't think 13 years ago we had all of this access to community the way we have it now. And if there was, I wasn't aware of it, you know?
And it's
Um,
always easier to ask strangers questions than it is to call up, people that that are like, well, why don't you just do this and that and blah, 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 blah. You're like, oh my God, okay.
yeah, it's true. It's true. I didn't have a great experience with my lactation consultant the last one that I just had. I did the same thing like you, Nar, and I told her to leave. I was just like,
Yeah.
look, I'm tired. This is nap time. I just put her down. You need to give me 2 hour break. I'll call you when I'm ready. I don't think she liked that.
Yeah. And I didn't know any better, but I was like in tears and I felt like so low. That's why I put that thing over my head because I felt like I failed like and I thought, well, maybe my baby's not going to breastfeed. Like I felt very hopeless and I was like so embarrassed because I'm sure that she was getting help from other mothers. But I remember she like got up and got behind me in the bed somehow. And she's like this tiny little girl. Like I'm huge. And she was like, tiny. She got behind me and she was really, nurses are trying to help us, even if we think it's aggressive. Like I'm not gonna say anything bad about nurses because that's some straight nurse dedication there. But I remember her like getting up behind me and like here, this is like really dedicated to helping me. And I was just like, get off me, leave me
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah, I think, and I not no nothing against nurses, like you said, but I think sometimes they forget because they deal with moms all the time that I think they forget to be sensitive, right, during those times. Because I remember my first nurse, I had to tell her get out, like I had to also tell her like leave me the hell alone, like stop. Like I was getting so upset how she was grabbing my child, trying to put the child on the boob. I was like, don't touch my baby. I'll figure this out because she was just so rough. Like it was just like I was like, she's a newborn. Like, why are you touching my child like that? Um, so I kicked her out. I was like, get out of my room. In a nice way, I said it, of course. So Mimsy says, right, I am actually struggling now with keeping weight. I gave birth to my third a year ago and I'm weighing less than 100 pounds. This is a struggle. Wow. And I can only like gosh, I think I read that every time you breastfeed, you lose like 700, like it's a 700 or 800 calorie loss every breastfeeding session. Like you lose, like you can't even lose that much in a run. Like, and I noticed that because I would, this is a great segue into our running topic, right? But I would run, and I know that if I ran for an hour, I was losing about 500 calories, 500 to 600 calories, maybe, depending how long I went. But then I read that in breastfeeding, you lose 700 to 800 calories. And I said, oh my God. And I was never able to do that, to breastfeed that long to lose weight at that rate. Um,
Um,
so I guess it's just eating more calories than what you're taking
yeah.
out, right?
That's a
Um,
thing too. Like a week after I started breastfeeding, I started on Weight Watchers. And I only did it to track. So there's a thing in the app where you can do to maintain or to lose or whatever. And I did maintain my weight. But from the get-go, I found out that calories were needed in breastfeeding. And so from the get-go, I kept track of what I was eating, not to lose weight, but to make sure that I was doing enough calories for breastfeeding, and having that peace of mind knowing that I was getting enough calories. Because if she's on her third, just think about it. Like, you have three, so you're not just, you're not like me just sitting with that baby in your face all day long. Like, you have three kids that need your attention and love. And like, my cousin is a mom of four, and I'll ask her, like, hey, when did you eat last? And she's like, oh, I don't remember. It's really easy to forget about food. So for me, for tracking, and maybe this will help her for tracking, like, that was like, okay, I know I'm getting enough calories for this. Maybe if she's not doing that, that might help her.
Yeah, yeah, and these are all suggestions. That's a great suggestion, Nara. So hopefully, Mimsy, we can support you and however we can. We
Yeah.
are a community of women and moms, and we're definitely active on Facebook. But I appreciate you being here on YouTube with us. Let me just say that you moms are awesome. Do what is best not only for your babe, but also what is best for you. Exactly. I think that's the biggest point that we want to drive, and this is a great way dads can help cook, provide mom with food intake they need. That is so good, like making
Yeah.
sure that the dad cooks or someone cooks. Like I remember I would make sure someone was there cooking because I just, you don't want to cook. I still don't want to cook, and my kids are bigger, so like, but
Mm.
yeah, if you have a husband that can help with the cooking or takeout, or a family member that can help cook, that is a great. That's a great tip, I think. So, tips from my husband: less coffee, more water. Eat when kids eat. They eat a lot. They definitely do eat a lot. Definitely need to fuel the body correctly. Absolutely, Mary. I think for that is essential. You need it, right? Um, so this is a great conversation. Let's go into our next topic. We can talk about we'll go into just jobs for a little bit. Um, I know Nara, you shared some facts about that with us, so go for it.
People like are being requested to come back into work, and people are like, I'm not going back in. And then corporate America is like, no, you need to come back in. And then people are like, no, I'm not coming. And corporate America is like, well, you need to. And then they're like, hey, here's my resignation letter. So there are the unemployment rate, Biden's White House staff, the Biden administration, it was hoping for 1.3 million new jobs to be filled. Not new jobs, jobs to be filled. I think it was, oh no, by May. This is the 31st. So by May, and there's only like 200K, like some jobs filled. And so I was reading these articles, and they're like, why aren't people going back to work? So I have a mom friend that who had a baby within 2 weeks of me, and we've kind of had this mom relationship. But so first it was like she told her employer she didn't want to go back, and she put in her 2 week notice. And then she's like, I'm not going back to office, like my baby needs me. And
Mm,
then her employer was like, okay, fine, whatever. And then her 2 weeks came in, like the last couple days they said, okay, you can work from home. And she's like, yeah, that's right. And then she still ended up quitting, because that was too much of a struggle. And she's just like, yeah, whatever. So apparently now, because post pandemic, more Americans have paid off debt, so they have less bills, and they've saved money because they've not been able to spend it on anything. And so they're throwing up the gooses, and they're saying it's my way or the highway. And there are lots and lots and lots of jobs to be filled right now.
wow. Yeah, I've been seeing a lot more career fairs, resource fairs. Like I even caught like a radio station doing like a mini career fair segment. Like they bring on an employer to talk about a job and do a mini interview with them to get people to apply to those jobs. So it's hard, right? Like now the tables have turned. Like if you are a company owner and you allowed your staff to work remotely, why would I want to come back if I was able to do the job remotely? Why would I want to go? Like, I get you need to come into the office once in a while, like team meetings, maybe like some sort of like building rapport, team
Happy hour.
exercise. Yeah, yeah, something like that, right? Like team exercise building, happy hour, whatever you want to call it. But now it's like I could do this from home. You effed up. Like that's kind of like what it seems like. Let me show these comments. Mimsy said, tip for friends and visitors: do not just sit and hold babies. Clean something, bring cooked food. That's a good tip from the breastfeeding
Yeah.
conversation. Um, she also said, don't do it. Don't be a slave to the man. Be creative, make your own money. Don't be dependent on the government. Um, they have already considered us unessential. Unessential. Um,
Well,
take, go ahead, Nara.
well, I mean, she has a point there. I feel like, I dedicate from my perspective, I dedicated my life to an industry that's incredibly hard, filled with sex and drugs and sexual harassment. It's notorious for being known for that. It's not my opinion. These are facts that it's just known for this. The hours are crazy, the workload is crazy, the benefits aren't the best. And I created a whole career out of it and I gave my life to it for them to say goodbye. And at the time that I was a newlywed, we were looking at homes. I don't know if you remember, but I used to send you like Zillows of homes, like, oh, we're going to go see this one. We're going to go see that one. And I also got pregnant thinking that we were going to have a two income household. And we are
Yeah,
like, yeah, we can do this, and that was a big, can we have a baby right now financially? And our answer was yes, because I had an income and he had an income.
yeah,
And for all of that to be took away, and that was right in the beginning, that was April, that was right in the beginning of COVID. So I know I'm feeling some sort of way about going back to corporate. And that's exactly why I'm getting into the tech world now, is because in the industry that I gave my life to, they said goodbye at the most important time in my life. And I'm not the only one out there. There are some other people that were like, "Oh, you downsized. You didn't need me, but now you want to call me and tell me to come back and you're going to give me the same pay. You showed me I was disposable. So why would I want to come back?" And I think even with millennials before COVID, there was this sense of corporate of us always feeling like corporate made us feel disposable. And then COVID happened and they showed us just how disposable we were. So, there's something to be said about that. Like you guys showed us how non-essential we were. Well, now you're non-essential because I sat there and I saved my money and I paid off my debt and I don't need to work now.
yeah, yeah. They it did, and I think I guess as a company, why would you? I guess it just depends on the industry, right? Like I could see obviously restaurant business, you need people in, and I feel for you, Nara. Like they let you go. Like I don't need to come back anymore. Like you almost kind of just gave workers a chance to see what they got. Like people started businesses during this time. Like Mimsy said, take
Yes.
this extra money and use your creativity to do you, right? Um, no, Mary said they are also saying that if people were let go and get unemployment too is more than the pay and they are not looking for work. Yes, some people are, I think those benefits are going to be gone soon, from my understanding, if I'm not mistaken. Like that's eventually going to run out. And I know people are like dependent on unemployment, but if it's going to run out at some point. And I wouldn't be surprised if they say, you got to pay this back, because every time you go on unemployment, and I just know from construction, because there's those seasons that you don't work,
Mm.
we always have to pay back, for the unemployment we receive. So I don't know if people realize. I know you could opt out and not get which Nara, this industry, right? I know you can opt out, like, oh, when you get your unemployment, I don't want to receive, I don't want you to whatever take this out, like I don't want to pay this, but we still end up paying back because then we'll get like I want to say like a 1099 from unemployment, and we have to pay taxes on it. So people are, when tax, I could see how tax season is gonna be maybe next time around, when people are like, oh, I gotta file now, oh, now you gotta pay us this much back. They gotta get that money back somehow, right? Um, Now you are expendable. They don't actually care about you or yours. Yeah, a lot of companies
That's what it
don't.
made me feel like. And I know that I'm not the only one. Maybe my situation was unique to me, but the overall feelings that, people that got laid off across America and stuff like that were feeling. And Jennifer, you're right. They went into entrepreneurship. They went into okay, fine, let me start my own business. And it created what is it like after every like huge world disaster or something, there's a new wave of entrepreneurship always.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know the name, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Because
Yeah.
even when like the market crashed in '08, a lot of companies launched, like I want to say Uber,
Yeah.
Redbox, Netflix. Like I think this when
Yeah.
these companies launched. So I'm
Yes.
sure we're gonna hear some like crazy companies launching. Like I never
Yeah.
thought of that, right?
Yeah.
Um, so Minzy said they want you to be completely dependent on this nonsense money, but their full intention is to have you fully enslaved to them when they cut you off. And then Mary said this year we got a break on the taxes this year, but you don't have to pay back on unemployment. Oh, okay. So, oh no, you do have to pay. I read that wrong. I apologize. My it kicked in my dyslexia for a second year, but you do have to pay back on unemployment. So yeah, like people don't realize this. And I heard of something that's gonna be passed. I follow this one woman who is like a also a tax person, or I don't want to say CPA or an accountant. I don't remember her title, but I do remember she put something up about like they're planning to pay people for every child you have on a monthly basis. And
Starting in July.
yeah, like I don't want that because I don't want to pay you nothing. Like I don't want to pay back nothing. I don't want to owe nothing. Like I don't need it, you know. I mean, if you give it to me, I'm just renovating my house. Like I'm taking that money and putting it back into my property. Like
But
that's
that's what Biden wants, because you have to remember Biden and Obama were they took office after the huge crash. And I don't know if you remember, in Obama's first 90 days, we got a stimulus check then.
oh yeah, I remember that
We-
stimulus check. I remember
Yeah.
that stimulus check. Yeah.
So
And
what Biden's trying to do is to not try to get our economy crashed. So that's exactly what they want you to do with that money, is to put it back into the economy. That's why
that's a
they're
good
giving
point.
it to us. It's cheaper to give every American checks than it is to bail out another GM, to bail out. Remember when they bailed out all those companies and gave them billions of dollars? And
Yeah.
people are like, so it's better for them to send you their money, Jennifer, so you can go renovate your house because you're putting it right back into the economy. That's what they
Yeah.
want.
Yeah. And we have Mimsy. She said use that money to grow your own food, grow food, not lawns. That's
I
a good
love
one.
her.
Yeah, that's cool. I guess, and this is a good conversation, I guess. With everything with the job market, people were able to see what they're made of. Like
Hmm.
it was a test with COVID. I love working from home. I love being my own boss. Um I love the fact that you have that access to make your own money. Like for us, and Nara, we went 100% online. We used to do events all the time and we would gather all the time. That was just how we were. And now it's like, oh, let's go all online platform. But now our reach is growing further because now we have women from Texas that we're coaching. Like now we're going into a different, we're going nation, like we're reaching other women that aren't local. So that to me is exciting. Mimsy, where you from, girlfriend? I want to know where you from. I'm just curious, because I know she's here through YouTube. So
Yeah,
Mimsy,
tell
uh,
her to check out the Facebook group too, if she's on Facebook or Instagram.
yeah, yeah, we're on Facebook, Mimsy, so definitely check us out, because if you love us here, you'll love us on Facebook. Do you ladies own your home? Yes, we definitely. She's in Missouri.
I don't.
Awesome.
I was going to, and then I lost my job. But my goal is to own, and then Jennifer absolutely does own.
Yeah, I own, and we're looking into buy more property too. Like we want to now be like landlords. That's our goal. So that's what we're doing for this year, trying to like expand. So I'm excited. I do not have FB or Insta. I feel like it's full of false realities. That hey, I respect that, Mimsy. Do you, girlfriend? But what we're here on YouTube. At least you're here with us on YouTube. Um, so let's talk about this final topic. We wanted to talk about running. I think running
Oh
has
yeah.
been, I don't know if anyone here is a runner. I don't know if Mimsy's a runner, even walkers, the walker runner life. Um, I always like to say, like, I personally hated running most of my life. Um, Even when I was in sports, when I did soccer, I was a forward, so I never liked to run. I wanted to just kick the ball in the goal, like in the net, like that's all I wanted to do. Um, and then I did other things that didn't require too much running. It was more like swimming uh, so I hated running. But I had to run. Like if you're an athlete, you have to run. Like they force you to run. It's like, damn it, I hate running. Um, and I remember just like, okay, I went to a marathon and I just got so excited and geeked up. Have you ever been to a marathon, Nara? Have you watched the Bank of America marathon? I know you worked in downtown. I don't know if you ever like actually was in like one of those like spectator type things.
I was in the spectator when they'd come to the restaurants and demand carbs after their run. And then they were starving, so you had to deal with a bunch of hangry people that wanted like an hour-long pizza and
Mm,
trauma.
trauma.
I'm just kidding. I say that lovingly.
Well, that's how I got addicted to it because I enjoyed watching the like life of it. I don't know, like watching the runners get all excited, dress up. And I've done other
Yeah.
runs like obstacle course type runs. I've done more like those physical ones, like Warrior Dash. It doesn't exist no more. Um, but now I like to encourage women to run and or walk and get
Yeah.
something that's part of our holistic approach with helping women. So
Yeah.
Nara, I know you also do a lot of walking and you were also like you married a runner. So
Yeah.
tell us about
Three
your
time. I don't know. He has three medals over there. Three-time marathon. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I know that before you had your baby, you were running with me. We were like trying to like train together and we were doing
Yeah.
stuff, right? How has your running or walking journey have been thus far?
It's been really great. That's how I get my exercise in is walking. And then now with the age that Gabriella is in and with how COVID is and it being so beautiful, like I try to go on journeys. Like we spent 5 hours in, is it Waneka? Is that how you pronounce it?
Winnetka? Yeah.
Waneka on last Monday. And then we walked around the temple that they have there, and then we went past all these beaches and like just walked my little behind off for like 5 hours. But
Nice.
that's like my new thing is taking the baby, especially on the days like today where my husband works morning and night, and we just walk somewhere, forest preserves. We go basically anywhere outside of the house that has some trees and sunshine. And then, my husband's put running on the back burner now, but he was dedicated. How many marathons do you have underneath your belt?
Me right now, just one marathon, one full 26 point, what is it? 2 miles? I forgot. Um, but yeah, one marathon I completed in 2018. And that's where the whole Fat Girls Run stemmed from. So that hashtag and that race, because I wanted to encourage women to run with me, which I don't know if you were there when I ran the marathon and I was like, you guys should run with me. Let's start a running group, right? Remember? And I was like, it's good for you. Like I've had a lot of from running and walking, like my mindset has changed. Like I feel more empowered. I get a lot of breakthroughs when I run, like my thought, like my thinking, like I like as I'm running, I will like solve a problem. Like, oh, I didn't think about this in a
Oh,
running
wow.
process. So that's why I think it's been so life changing for me. So I want to encourage women to have those similar experiences, and that's why I like that Fat Girls Run community, because I think people have this this idea of like, oh, a runner's supposed to be skinny, little biker shorts, little running shorts. You, like think about it. How do you envision, like when you think of runners, what do you think of?
Yeah.
You know, you,
Yeah, just that, like the very slender, by nature, running and walking makes a person leaner. And so that tends to happen. But my husband is very like, what do you call it? Sturdy, maybe
mhm,
like he broader, too. So he never. Oh, I take that back. I just looked at a picture of him running. We have a metal wall with his medals behind us, and then I have my little cutesies from the foam run and from the Wonder Woman run, and I have my medals up there too, but they're not
but
marathon runners.
they're
But he was
still
very slender.
But there were great accomplishments, whether it's a 5K, a 10K, a half, but still it's something you did and it feels good when you're done and you get that medal. So,
Yeah,
I definitely just like to create. So, Fat Girls Run started because we just didn't have, was it COVID hit? We all wanted to run something together. Like I think we were planning to run a race together. We
the
were
Wonder
doing,
Woman.
yeah, we were gonna do the Wonder Woman together, all of us, and some other run. And then all of a sudden, like COVID hit, and it was like, oh, everything canceled. So then it was like, let's put a run together ourselves. Why the heck do we need somebody? And that's where all of this started, was the Fat Girls Run initiative and the Fat Girls Race. But fat doesn't mean fat. Like, I don't literally want to be calling women fat. Like, I'm not, that's not the intention. Like, it's more like just being fearless, authentic, and tenacious. That's the goal. Like, see it as you can be any size and run. You can be any weight and run. Um, and I have some comments here. Mimsy said, "I do not do running or walking for exercise purpose, but living in Ozarks is labor intensive all day, every day. So I'm sure you have to do a lot of walking then, just because of where you live, which it makes total sense." They are still runs, Nara. Exactly. Mary said they're still runs. You are still a runner. Exactly. If you get, I love this conversation. We're talking with another woman from the community. She said, if you get up and walk and you get out, whether it's walking, you're considered a runner. Like if you have running shoes, but you're not literally running, but you have running shoes, you're a runner. It doesn't matter what speed you're at, right? I'm a slow runner. I don't run fast. Like, and I'm not trying to like 10 those, kudos to the 7, 8, 9 minute mile people. I'm just like, let me just finish. 15 minutes a mile, I'm happy with that. 12 minutes a mile, I'm happy with that. Like, I'm cool with that. I'm not trying to be fast. I'm just trying to like run and finish. That's all my goal is. Just finish. Um, so yeah, so and this year our run is in honor of Maria Elena Cifuentes. I think Nora, you've met her. She's went to Metaphrosis before, to some of our meetings, but right now she's unfortunately she's in the hospital fighting for her life right now, and she signed up for our run. She registered. She was going to do it with us, but unfortunately, right now COVID hit, and she's like in the hospital for pneumonia. So we're believing in a miracle for her. We're believing that she's gonna pull through, because she participates in our last year's retreat. She did last year's run, and she's come to some of our monthly meetings when we used to have them live. I think she only went to like one or two. So we're definitely gonna be running in honor of her.
She's Nancy's friend, right? Nancy and Maria. She works at UPS or FedEx. Is that
No,
her?
no, not her. She works like at an organization in down in Albany Park, actually, by you, where you live at. Um, you might have seen her. I put a picture up of her, so once you see the picture, you might recognize her right away. But yeah, right now she's fighting for her life. So I said, you know what? When I found out it was Friday, and actually, Mary Yee, who's in our community, she suggested, like, why don't we dedicate this run to her and see if we could raise some funds for her. Um, and because at the end of the day, she's going to have hospital bills, she's going to have, bills piled up. So what we're believing is we're going to support her financially because we're believing that she's going to pull through this, and she's going to make it. So I definitely want to dedicate the run to her. So I want to encourage ladies, and this is a virtual run. You don't have to, you could run wherever you want. If Mimsy's still watching, you could run in your community. We mail you out a bib, we mail you out a medal. If you want a shirt, you can purchase that and have a shirt that goes with the entire outfit. So I want to encourage that for this show because it's June 6th, which is this Sunday coming up. So, yeah, so I'll be putting a donation button on the website. Our website to register for the run. There was a donate button, but I didn't know what to raise funds for. So I didn't bother activating it. Now I said, you know what? I can activate that donate button. And if anyone just wants to donate towards her pulling through, fundraiser, they can. So and I don't I'm gonna put more details when I get that together.
That's awesome. Way to go, Wise. Way to go.
Yeah, and I know that we definitely love our women and we love our community and, however we can serve and especially something to that extent of like one of our own is in the hospital. Yeah, definitely. We got to do something. We definitely got to do something. So, if you guys want to know more information, you can definitely go. We have a social media account. It's not on the website, but you can definitely go find us. Um, we have social media, women's self development. You can go there and you can find information both on our Insta and our Facebook. And actually, the website itself we have it. I'll give it to you right now. I didn't set it up.
And you're
Um,
on TikTok.
oh yeah, I have TikTok. I do have TikTok. I can't keep up with that thing sometimes. I'm like, oh, another video. I gotta make another video, and I forget. But if you guys want to sign up, it's runsignup.com/race Illinois Chicago Wise Fat Girls Run. Again, this is virtual. You can run from anywhere in the nation or globe. You don't have to be local. Some of the local chicks will be getting together and running together at the lake on Sunday in Chicago, but you can create your own little running group in your community. Get some women, do it together. Just get yourself moving and going. And that's where I'll have the donate button as well if you want to contribute. We definitely want any donations. I don't care, 5, 10, just something to help this family out during this
Yeah.
difficult time. Um, Mimsy said, you ladies are pretty solid. And Mary said, a mile at any pace is still a mile. It is. Doesn't matter how long it takes. It's still a mile. Um, so yeah, so I'm excited. Nara, I know Nara, you're gonna get your walking in. Mary's gonna get her walking in. So all you ladies, if you want to sign up, Mimsy, hopefully at some point you sign up and get a Facebook so you could join our community just for us. You don't got to join for anybody else. I'm just joking. But if you have any other questions, you want to get to know us, you can check us out. We do have a website, womensselfdevelopment.org. We have our free Facebook group, Wise Women Support Group, and you can check out more information there. So, and if you have any questions, you want to reach out to me, you can send me an email, womensselfdevelopment@gmail.com. So
And you also
this
have a
was
coaching program.
I do have a coaching program. We do a 12-week intense video and accountability program, and it starts in September. So we will be, you will see more messages. We'll be looking for new ladies to enroll for September. And it can be intense. It's not intense. I don't want to scare people off, but there's a lot of like homework, videos. We journal now. They're like journal prompts. And I'm excited. The retreat's coming up, you guys, September 10th.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You have
Sep-
retreats too that are
yeah,
always hosted in the Midwest somewhere.
yeah. We're going to Whitehall, Michigan again. Hopefully Nara you can make it. And bring the hubby and the baby and keep them, let them hang out while you're at the retreat. um, but we'll be at Whitehall, Michigan. It's a beautiful space. So I got to start promoting that as well to get people to come out to that. So much to do. Nara, do you have any final words to share? This was a good show, I think.
It was a lot of fun. We had a complete impromptu conversation in the beginning there. But yeah, no, Jed, I just wanted to thank you for having me on as a co-host and just thank the WISE community. And I didn't know about Maria, so just gonna put her in my prayers, and thanks to WISE and to Jennifer and all the ladies and everything, and a happy Memorial Day.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for those. Yeah, enjoy your day. If you're grilling, you're barbecuing, stay safe. Eat that extra arrachera. No, I'm just joking. Don't eat the extra arrachera. I wish
You
I could
don't
have
need it.
arrachera.
Yeah.
No, oh, what's that TikTok? No one will know, but they will know.
Yeah. Yes. 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 Oh my gosh, I don't know.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Nara. We appreciate you having being our co-host for the entire month. You did bring a lot of awesome topics, and I love bringing co-hosts because you see things through their eyes and bring topics that are relevant and important to the co-host, which is what I really appreciate about you. Your topics were a lot of fun, so thank you so much. And Mary said, "Eat the extra veggies." I can't eat extra veggies. I can only have half a cup of low carb vegetables, or if it's lettuce, a full cup. Yeah, literally. Like I'm measuring.
You
So
gotta do what you gotta do. How much weight have you lost so far?
12 pounds. 12 pounds.
See, there you
Yeah,
go.
12 pounds. So my goal is just get to this goal weight, get to 90. I'll be happy. I'll be done. And then I can figure out how to maintain it after that.
Amazing. Great job.
Thank you so
And to all
much.
the other ladies losing weight, good job too.
Yeah, you too. You're losing weight, aren't you? How much have you lost since baby?
Like 33 pounds out of 40. And then I'm gonna
Girl,
keep going.
that is amazing. That's awesome. 33 pounds. Good for you. Good for you.
I mean,
That's
yeah.
a Sophie. That's a Sophie. Oh, she's like 60. That's a baby Camila. She's like 25 pounds right now.
Wow, she's still getting so big.
Yeah, she's getting big. But thank you guys so much for watching. I know we went a little longer than usual, but it's Memorial Day, so I know you guys ain't working. So talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Yes,
Bye.
thank you.